Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for The Lady in Red, released in 1935. It's the 112th in the series and it's directed by Friz Freleng. A restoration has shown up. It was first on streaming services, but you can get it on physical media as an extra on the Warner Archive release of the movie Joe's Apartment. A very underrated film. I highly recommend it, actually. It's a nice little hidden gem of sorts from the 90s. Definitely give it a go. Just mind some of the raw CGI that was used. But anyway, it's a pretty funny film. But hopefully it'll make its way on some sort of Warner Brothers set of some kind. Who knows? But at least it's restored, and that's the main thing. Because the last time I took a look at this short, it was unrestored. So it's always a pleasure to have a look at something that's come back in this way. Now, it is under copyright. I can't show you the full thing here on YouTube as it'll just get blocked. So Warner Brothers themselves are the only ones that can put it on their channel. But in case you haven't seen it, not really much to it. You have a Mexican cafe that closes for the bullfights, and the cockroaches come out to play, doing various activities. And we have the main centerpiece, I guess, of Lady Cockroach dancing to the Lady in Red. And yes, we also have a third act villain in the form of a parrot, a villain choice so amazing that it makes you forget about Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam. I kid, of course, it's fine for what it is, okay? I'm not going to bag this cartoon. I actually quite like a lot of these earlier Friz Freleng Merry Melodies shorts, even if they're not maybe ha-ha funny, but there's definitely a lot of interesting things about them. So in this review, we're going to go through the short itself, but the most important thing about this short is the title track itself, because it is a Looney Tunes staple. It's used quite a bit, especially once Carl Starling comes on the scene. My good friend Manny, the Toonie Tenor, will go through the musical aspect of it later on in this review, but yeah, this is definitely one of the more prominent ones, and it's right up there with She Was an Acrobat's Daughter and Ain't We Got Fun, another two staples in Looney Tunes music history. But I'm going to go through the short itself from start to finish, going through references that you may or may not know, and then Manny will have a chat about the music, so let's get on to it. And right away when we open up, and this restoration is stunning, and I don't know if it's maybe got too much grain removed or whatever, I really don't know, but it looks good to my eye at least. And what's interesting is how we got a Mexican theme here, and Friz Freleng would just become so synonymous with a lot of Mexican themed shorts, and later on he'd do a lot of Speedy Gonzales and other shorts featuring characters from that area, so it's just another little interesting factoid, I suppose. But yeah, we open up that it's a cafe and it's closed for the bullfights. And as we're inside, my goodness, it just looks stunning. There's something about the look of these two-strip Technicolor shorts that's just rather unique. Of course, you've got mainly the greens and the reds. That's what the two-strip Technicolor look is. But looking at the background, there's a lot of chili being sold, but you know, people who have watched this channel a while know they like to look at these little background details, and yeah, there's quite a lot of chili. So now that the cafe is closed, the cockroaches can now come out and play. So this sort of short is modeled after the so-called Things Coming to Life shorts, although in this case, cockroaches are of course already alive, but it's the same kind of thing. And they're interacting with various elements, well, to humorous effect, I guess. Like, for example, we actually start off seeing cockroaches as being fairly normal. Obviously, they look cartoonified, they're not actual cockroaches, but like it starts off that way, and then the next shot is a police officer or a traffic officer controlling the traffic of cockroaches using an egg beater with the stop-go thing. Now, again, people who know me know that I like to look at the background details, as I already mentioned, but in this case, things to do with old shopping stuff, and I looked up Coleman Sugar. I couldn't really find anything on that, so let me know in the comments if you know what that's referring to, as that might have been an isolated thing in a very certain part of the country at a certain time of last century. I don't know, so let me know. The other stuff appears to be just generic packets. So unlike a few of the earlier shorts Friz did where the actual packets referred to real-life grocery items, here it just looks very generic. Again, you got various bits and pieces where it's all about how these little cockroaches are interacting with items. So you've got, again, another egg beater in some sort of a bowl where it's like a ferry cruise across a sink full of dirty dishes. So I guess they really had to rush out to the bullfight, didn't they, the owners of this place? And then you've got this bit with a donut, and you've got this bit with cookies. Is it haha funny? Not really, in my opinion, but it's got its charm. It's not bad. I really can't find myself thinking that this is awful or anything, but at least, hey, you can look at these scenes and go, Frizz's timing is incredible, and a lot of it's timed to the actual score, which again, Manny will go through what these music cues actually are. So in the next bit, you got a few cockroaches rolling over a piece of bread, and you got these two other cockroaches that are going to drill a hole in it. But just before that, I'm looking at these cans, and yeah, I think this pretty much confirms my suspicions that they just use generic branding names. But one is a cheeky reference, I believe, to carnation milk because it's got the cow on the front, and just call it cow brand milk. I don't know, I thought that was hilarious. And if you look at the peach can, it says, no fuzz, well, we don't want fuzzy peaches, do we? But Peachy Packing Company. So, yeah, I pretty much think that this is just generic packaging they're using, but that cow brand one gave me a bit of a chuckle for sure. But the next bit is interesting because you've got the bread rolled over and they're going to dip the hot dog in red hot mustard. What? No chili? But anyway. But you've got that breakfast cereal box, which aids digestion, corrects fallen arches and spots before the eyes. So I guess this is one of those blink and you miss it tags where it's like, hang on a moment, yeah, it can aid digestion, making you feel, regular. But fallen arches, yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. But if you look at the bottom, and I did not notice this before because this is what comes through in restorations and why a lot of us love to see these things restored. Because on the bottom, what do you see? Made in Portus. Packed by Tubby Millar. That's a reference to Melvin Tubby Millar, who was at the studio. He was one of the staff members, and in a lot of shorts, if you see a reference to Portus, well, that's because that's where Melvin Tubby Millar was actually from, Portus. So he would try and insert that reference in a lot of Looney Tunes shorts. So if you see Portus, it's because of Tubby Millar. This gag, though, involving the hot dog being put inside the bread, falls a little flat because once it's all made up and it's pushed into the hole, that's it. We don't see from it again. And I guess we're just so used to having gags, having a massive punchline. And you see this as like, okay, well, what was the point? I guess it's just supposed to be, haha, look at these little things making stuff with other things. So it is what it is, but yeah, it fell flat for me. And the next bit, again, less haha, more just charming. And I like the timing of that olive to the actual soundtrack. But yeah, it's just a cockroach bowling and he's hitting some radishes. And you got the other cockroach setting up the pins again, and that's pretty much it. So again, no real punchline. It's more cute than anything, but anyway. And the next bit's quite clever. You've got these two cockroaches. They get these paddles, which I guess they're little spoon things that's used to serve up mustard. I'm not sure what they're called. Let me know if you're a chef or something in the comments or what they would actually be called. So they grab one of the peas. I'm not sure who eats peas and mustard, but we'll just leave that, of course. And they play tennis. And this has got some really good timing to it. And again, it's all timed beautifully to the music, and it's actually fast. Because a lot of people mistake Freeling around this time as being more on the slower side, but no, you've got moments like this where he definitely does pick up the speed. And there's a bit of humor in this one too, where you've got the fact that there's an audience that's somehow there for some reason, including one very goofy looking cockroach. I thought that was pretty funny. So these designs are pretty cool. And it ends with one of the players almost losing, but he just thinks very quickly to get that pea back up in the air. He goes to the teapot and knocks the other player out. And I'm guessing it's game over right there. So now we get into the meat of the story, however little there is. But anyway, so we've set everything up. All these goofy cockroaches are out having fun in this cafe. So you've got this cockroach, he's singing on like a gondolier of some sort. And again, Manny will go through that musical reference there. But again, this is the sign of things changing for the studio, especially with the Merry Melodies, where I'm assuming that Frizz wasn't exactly too happy with doing the whole music promotion thing. So during the song sequence, he accidentally swallows some soap and he gargles during the song, which may not mean much if you look at it, but it shows me at least that they weren't particularly happy with some of the mandates of having music in there to promote it, so they just inserted that just because they could. Now, according to Keith Scott's Wonderful Cartoon Voices book, he's not quite sure who does the voice, but hopefully we'll get further information down the track as to who actually sings that. And I like the animation there. It's beautifully timed to the music that he's singing, and I love the water reflection as well. So, these shorts may not have been the biggest budgeted like their counterparts over at Disney, but they definitely did some really nice stuff, and that's a great example right there. So he arrives at a nightclub, and we see this wonderful dancing sequence, and I guess one way to keep costs down is just to have each of these characters on a small cycle, because if you pay close attention, they just go through the same cycle over and over, but it works, it's fine for what it is. But that band, and I'm surprised when Manny sent me Manny's music time recording, he didn't note the fact that these weird instruments, how on earth are they able to get that wonderful sound out of those makeshift instruments they've got on stage, like a smoker's pipe and all that? So, yeah. Manny, you're slipping. No, kid. It's an amusing little thing. But now we see a Rudy Valley Cockroach, and, Manny will go through that song in just a moment, but there's a big question mark in Keith Scott's wonderful cartoon voices book that Enrico Riccardi did the voice, but he's got a question mark, so he's not entirely sure. So hopefully some information will come to light as to if that's really the case or not. But it's a nice song, and I like the added touch of that little funnel there as being like the microphone, because Rudy Valley would actually use that kind of, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like an echo microphone funnel thing, and Manny's going to kill me now because I don't know what it's actually called, but it's actually what Rudy Valley did when he was singing. And like here, this is another sign of Frizz evolving, so it's not as though this entire short just stops when this Rudy Valley Cockroach sings. We do see the band, and we see that beautiful timing of the two cockroaches playing those glasses the way that they are, perfectly timed to the music. But during the song, we see that the cockroach we saw earlier being seated at the table. Yeah, I guess that's one way to have a tablecloth. Just use a cupcake holder of sorts, and that's that. At least we're moving the plot forward during this song, rather than having everything grind to a halt, which is one of the minor criticisms I have of some of the earlier Frizz Freeling, and also even earlier than that, the harmonizing efforts. And now we come to the main attraction, and easily the highlight of this short, the wonderful title song, The Lady in Red. Look at the animation and timing of those singers, especially when they go from hat to hat like they do. According to Keith Scott's book, it's the Varsity 3 that does that Mexican trio. So at least we're able to identify someone in this. So we end up going into this dressing room where we see our main lady in red, who will be lady in red because she's got a bikini on. I wonder if this was able to get past the censors only because she was a cockroach. I don't know if they would have allowed someone wearing a bikini like that. I don't know. I'm overthinking it. But I noticed, though, a powdered sugar, pure beet. And I had no idea about this because I thought a lot of the sugars come from sugar cane, but apparently there is a thing called sugar beets, and you can make sugar out of sugar beets as well as sugar cane. So I'm not going to go into the whole history and call this channel Anthony's Sugar Beet Talk, but I legitimately didn't even know such a product existed. So there you are. And in nice little touches, you've got this lady, she ends up kissing the lipstick, and somehow it applies perfectly on her lips. Nice little touches like that, and of course her dress, it happens to be, I don't know what you guys in the US would call them. I don't even know what they're called here, really. I mean, are they what, pork chop hats, pork chop holders? I don't know, but in any case, it's red, and that's going to be her dress. And yes, the lady in dance now starts dancing to the music, and again, it's a tour de force of Frizz Freeling's timing and just wonderful music. And we even get a few gags inserted here and there involving the cockroaches using stuff. So, of course, using peanuts as shakers, and even one really weird one where one of the cockroaches gets a piece of meat and gets the dentures to start chattering away as well. That's a weird one. And we see our main cockroach character absolutely smitten. I mean, who could blame him? She dances pretty well. I love all the dance moves that she does in the animation there. I wonder who animated it. Even though Bob McKimson was credited here, I don't think it would have been him. Or maybe it was, I don't know. But if you guys have a good idea as to who might have animated that, definitely let me know, because these earlier ones, yeah, it's a bit harder to tell. And now we see the villain of the piece, this parrot. As I said, he's right up there with Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam. But the vocal effects for this parrot is done by a person, according to Keith Scott, by the name of Count Cutelli. I love that name, though. It sounds like he's a Dracula wannabe or something, but no, he's a vocal effects guy, and he's done a lot of vocal effects in various animated projects, so he's done the parrot here. But the parrot somehow escapes from the cage and sees the cockroaches. I love the animation of the parrot here, and if I was a betting man, I would say McKimson did this, but that's not a confirmation, okay? It's just with the way McKimson would animate, it just feels like this was him, but I could be wrong. In any case, these two cockroaches escape into a coffee pot, and this clever parrot turns it on and tries to boil them alive. See, I told you it was evil. So the parrot does his evil laugh and looks into the nightclub where I'm assuming it's a he, decides to pinch the lady in red. The fiend. See, very evil parrot. So he chases after her, and according to the Cartoon Voices book, Gene Dunn does the vocals for the lady in red, which is mainly the screams here. But our main hero notices what's going on and he decides to do something about it. And we've only got like 30 seconds to go, so you can imagine that the final bit wouldn't be anything too complicated, but let's take a look. So the parrot is on top of the stove and our hero turns on the flames. So I guess we even had some foreshadowing before with that whole coffee pot thing, but anyway. And we see nothing but 20 seconds of this parrot just screaming in pain. That's right, we get animal torture. You know, you try and imagine being burned alive, yeah? So this parrot definitely has every right to be screaming like it is. But yeah, the parrot escapes, and I'm wondering what the owner's going to think when the owner returns. Is like, oh, where's my parrot? But anyway, or maybe he'll find the parrot burned alive. Gee, that's pretty dark, isn't it? And then we quickly end with the lady in red saying, my hero, and I'm assuming they're going to be a wonderful couple, married for years and years and years, as we see the burning parrot spell out the end in one of the more darker endings, I think. But in any case, it's a strange ending right there. But I've been prattling on long enough, so my good friend Manny Cruz, the Toonie Tanner, is going to now discuss the music in this short, which, as you've already seen, is a prominent part. So, take it away, Manny.
Hi, everyone. This is Manny Cruz, the Toonie Tanner, coming at you with the latest edition of It's Time for Manny's Music Time, with music trivia for you today. Bum! For the 1986 classic song, Lady in Red by Chris de Burgh. So, Lady in Red comes from his album Into the Light. And wait. This is not Anthony's 80s love ballads talk? Oops. Silly. Okay. This Lady in Red, the title song of the cartoon I'm going to talk about, and Lady in Red, the 1986 ballad from Chris de Burgh. It's one of my favorite songs of the 1980s. And it's also not related to the 1984 film, The Woman in Red, which features Gene Wilder and Kelly LeBrock, I believe. Oh my goodness, she's gorgeous. And I think, she wears red in that film. I saw parts of it. But that's also the film that the song I Just Called to Say I Love You comes from, Stevie Wonder, which won an Academy Award that year, the 1984 Oscar, for Best Song in a Motion Picture. And it beat out Against All Odds by Phil Collins, which is a phenomenal song. And I'm really bummed because it beat the Ghostbusters theme song at the 1984 Oscar. Well, the 85 ceremony, but the 1984 Oscar nominations. Okay, what were we talking about? I'm just kidding. All right, let's get serious. I mean, Anthony, if you cut this part out, I don't blame you. So here we go. In all seriousness, we're talking about the 1935 Merry Melody cartoon, The Lady in Red, directed by our friend Isidore Fritz Freeling, with musical direction by Norman Spencer. So let's jump right into this one, shall we? It's been a while since I've seen this short. It's very nice to see it restored. The last time I seen it, it was from one of those old AAP prints. One of the old Turner prints have been floating around for decades. A staple of my childhood, so to speak. Since I'm getting old and I'm not a lady in red, I'm a man who's currently wearing a black shirt. So the Man in Black? Men in Black? Nah, never heard of it. All right, before I jump into the title track, I just want to say that I found it rather interesting that the main characters of this cartoon are all cockroaches. And you're probably thinking, what's the connection with that? Well, of course, there's the famous Mexican song, La cucaracha, la cucaracha, la cucaracha, ya no puedo caminar. Ya no puede caminar, sorry. And cucaracha is Spanish for cockroach. And now it makes sense. So I'm feeling really good today. All right, so The Lady in Red, the song itself. So the title track, you hear it in the opening credits. You hear it throughout the cartoon, obviously.
have you ever met the girl who's the ghost of the town? A work of art without a question, who gives your heart a queer congestion. Say, have you ever met the dream in the red velvet gown? If you will pardon my suggestion, you better write her number down.
It was originally introduced in the 1935 film In Caliente, which is kind of strange. It's In Caliente. Caliente means hot. So you're in hot. I don't know. And it was originally introduced in the film by the actress Winnie Shaw. She sings it. And then you have another actress, Judy Canova, performing it afterwards. And her rendition of the song is quite interesting. It sounds like me on a regular basis. No. But if you get the chance to check it out, they do have a clip of the song on YouTube from the original film. Like I said, 1935's In Caliente. Now, the songwriters themselves, Ali Rubel wrote the music and Mort Dixon wrote the lyrics. If you'd like to learn more about Ali Rubel, I highly recommend you listen to the commentary that I did for Pop Goes Your Heart. And for Mort Dixon, the lyricist, please check out the commentary for a great big bunch of you.
Oh, the lady in red is fresh as a daisy when the town is in bed. Dancing and dining and shining with originality. She's very proper, she's nothing more than a pal. What, oh, me and oh my, you'd never stop her. She'd be a dangerous gal if she should ever meet the right guy.
Now, The Lady in Red, not the 1986 song, although I do love that one, but this one from 1935 has become a bit of a staple in Warner Brothers cartoons. Carl Stalling tended to use this one a lot whenever you had a character wearing red or whenever you had an attractive character on screen. And it's personally one of my favorite cues in Warner Brothers shorts. I never get tired of hearing it. And yeah, it's a great one. And it's cool to see that it's finally properly introduced into the Looney Tunes Merry Melodies universe as early as 1935, before the arrival of Carl Stalling.
Oh, the lady in red, the fellows are crazy for the lady in red. Is she a study, oh buddy, what? Personality, she got fatality. Say, have you ever met the girl who's the toast of the town? A work of art without a question, you better write her number down.
So later on, you have the song South American Joe, which was written by Cliff Wren, the music, and the lyrics were written by Irving Caesar. This is the music that you hear during the brief bowling ball scene where the cockroaches use olives as bowling balls and the celery is like when the ball comes back to you in the bowling alley. I thought that was a really neat part. I completely forgot about it. Now, Cliff Wren, I want to talk to him a little bit more in the future because he is one of the people responsible for writing The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down, the Looney Tunes theme song. So I'll save that for another time. Now, for Irving Caesar, not Julius Caesar, that's for a history class. So a little bit about Irving Caesar. His real name was Isidore Kaiser. He was born on Independence Day, 1895, and he died December 17th, 1996. So he lived to be 101 years old. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, December 17th is the day The Simpsons premiered in Wow, this guy was around on his birthday, was the premiere of The Simpsons in 1989. And I think 1995 was the episode Marge Be Not Proud, the other Christmas episode that time. Now, here we go. There's my Simpsons reference for the day. So Irving Caesar, he was a native New Yorker, born in New York and New York City and died in New York City. And he was a lyricist and a composer for theater. And when I looked up some of the songs he wrote, I was like, wow. His big ones happened to be T for Two and Crazy Rhythm. So T for Two is another song that was used frequently by Carl Stalling in Warner Brothers shorts. I always think of the scene from Showbiz Bugs in particular that Daffy and Bugs are dancing to the song T for Two. And Crazy Rhythm, I just recorded not that long ago with Anthony, the commentary for Pizzicato Pussycat. And Crazy Rhythm is the song that you hear at the very end of the cartoon when the mouse and the cat do a duet on the piano and the drum set. I love the rendition of Crazy Rhythm in that cartoon. And I had no idea that it existed prior. That song was from 1928, I believe. So yeah, he wrote the lyrics for that one, not the music, but still a pretty neat connection to more Looney Tunes Merry Melodies history, so on and so forth. So like I said, Cliff Wren, I'll talk more about him another time. Later on in the cartoon, you hear the song Neapolitan Nights. The lyrics were by Harry D. Kerr, and the music was by J.S. Zemishnik. In older commentaries, I erroneously called him Zemechnik, but it's pronounced Zemishnik. Now, J.S. Samishnik is another standard of animation music. Like I said, Carl Stalling used him frequently. A lot of his cues, because Samishnik wrote stuff, a lot of stuff for silent films. He wrote some stuff for theaters. Now, if you want to learn more about J.S. Samishnik, I did go into detail with him for the commentary for My Green Fedora, so if you want to check that out. As for Harry D. Kerr, little information about him. He was born October 8th, 1880 in Santa Rosa, California. Santa Rosa, that's how I feel like pronouncing it. And he died May 21st, 1957 in Los Angeles, California. I'm going to go into a slight detour in this commentary. I'm recording this shortly after the wildfires that are occurring in the Los Angeles area. To all my friends, family, listeners, especially people who work in the animation industry and people who work in the music industry, two things that are very important to me. I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody will have the opportunity to rebuild and find some stability in this very dark time in Los Angeles history. And if there are any opportunities for you to donate, I know there's the Red Cross. I know that there are various organizations helping. I've been trying to do my best donating money and just trying to push positive information out there to help out my friends. If you're listening, I just hope everything turns out for the best in the future. But anyway, I felt the need to say that because I just saw that Harry Kerr was born in LA, and just crazy times, really is. Back to what I was saying before, Harry, his middle name was David. I forgot to mention that. Harry David Kerr. He was a songwriter and a lyricist, but he was also a lawyer, which I thought was pretty interesting because he started in music initially. He was songwriting. He started doing music when he was young, when he was a teenager, but then he became a lawyer, and then he decided to work on songwriting, but yet he still worked in both industries. And what I thought was really cool is that he helped get the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, ASCAP, up and running in the 1920s. And he's one of the charter members when it was founded in 1914. He went to the Albany Law School. He helped with, like I said, the music industry. He helped with things of copyright. For example, he was one of the people that helped get the Copyright Act of 1909 passed. He wrote the lyrics for a campaign song for President William Taft, the largest president that we have had in American history. What I thought was neat is that usually you have musicians that, I mean, look, I've been working as a musician for many years and I've had that wear multiple hats, but it's always kind of interesting that you have people like Harry Kerr where he was dipping his toes, so to speak, actively in the music world while he was still studying law. And that's something that I've always told my students over the years, that if you love music, I mean, everybody thinks you have to be a singer, you have to be an instrumentalist, you have to be a composer, conductor. So no, you could actively work in the music industry, but for example, you could work in law, you could work in engineering, you could build music halls, you could work on musical technology, things of that nature. I mean, me, myself, I took the performance route and also I have experience as an educator, but I think it's cool that he was still keeping the musical blood flowing in his body while working in law. So thought that was pretty neat. As for Neapolitan Nights, thought it was a really pretty song. I heard a rendition of it, a duet on YouTube. And this is the music that the gondolier Cockroach is singing while he's in like the sink and pretending that he's like in Venice or whatever it may be.
Oh, nights of splendor, your charm so tender, make love surrender till stars are gone. Oh, nights of laughter, though tears come after, love regrets, love forgets when comes the dawn.
So the next cue you hear is Sweet Music by Harry Warren and Al Dubin, the Lennon and McCartney of Warner Brothers Shorts. If you want more information about Harry Warren, please check out the commentary for a great big bunch of you. And for Al Dubin, the Earl. Earl, yeah. Hey, Earl, old friend of mine. The girl at the ironing board. So the song itself comes from the 1935 feature film of the same name featuring Rudy Valley. And I thought it was pretty appropriate that the Cockroach was caricaturing Rudy Valley while he was singing.
Sweet music makes a rainy day seem clear again. It brings you near again to me. Sweet music makes a bitter word grow sweet again. Two hearts can beat again in harmony.
So nice little connection there. And I've heard this one before. I think it's a really pretty song, so it was nice to hear it. And it was a long one. It's about a minute long in the cartoon itself. Now, the cartoon wraps up with 2 cues from J.S. Mishnik. You hear Disturbance and Comedy Excitement. I was listening to them on YouTube as well, and it was cool to, like, match it with the action in the cartoon itself. So Disturbance, the cue, you hear that when the parrot, the villain of the cartoon, he looks around and he spots the cockroaches inside I think it was like a restaurant. Yeah, they were selling enchiladas and chili and all that other stuff. So he sees what's going on. Ooh, the dastardly parrot villain, dun dun dun. And that's when you hear that. And then during the chase at the end of the cartoon, when the parrot starts going after the lady in red, you hear Comedy Excitement again from J.S. Mishnik. Yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote, or all that was used in this cartoon. And this is a fun one to revisit. I mean, there's not much to say. The title track, you're going to hear it a ton of times, like I said, Warner Brothers cartoons, if you keep your ears open. But some cool stuff from Samishnik, from Warren and Dubin. And Ali Rubel, we've seen his music pop up a few times. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Once again, you can follow me on social media at the Toony Tenor, TheToonyTenor. For my life as a multifaceted geek, a musician, a lover of cartoons, and all that other fun stuff. And one more time, as I said before, if you have the opportunity to donate, to spread the word, to help anybody out there who was affected in the Los Angeles wildfires, please do so. This world is hurting in so many different ways, but if we could do anything to spread love, spread positivity, and ensure that the world is a good place for not only the people that are here now, but for the future generations, it would truly be a wonderful thing. And I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. This is the first commentary I believe that I've recorded for 2025, so happy belated New Year. And thanks for supporting. Talk to you soon. Keep watching cartoons. Keep listening to music. Take care of yourself, your friends, and your loved ones. And that's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Thank you, Manny. So, yeah, with this short, it's probably more memorable for the song. And let's not kid ourselves, it's definitely the highlight here. But what about the short itself? Is it entertaining? Well, it depends on your like of earlier frizz-frilly merry melodies and these sort of, well, not things coming to life. It's kind of like that, but of course with cockroaches instead of inanimate objects. But is it haha funny? No. Is it cute? Yeah, I'd say so. It's got some charming bits to it, and yeah, the music's wonderful, the animation's wonderful, but my goodness, that ending is consisting of animal torture. Yeah, definitely one of the more interesting endings. It's sort of like, yeah, we don't have the time for a big set piece, let's just burn this parrot and finish it up and see you later. I don't know, it would have been interesting to be a fly on the wall in the story meeting for this one. Look, this one gets 7 out of 10, and most of that score comes from the actual music, which I really do love the rendition here, and some of the animated bits are really nice as well. But I'm sure we can all agree, it looks wonderful restored, and all I can say about that is, keep them coming. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.